Joe is a bipolar coach because of her experience of bipolar. And we're going to talk today about that experience. It'll all be revealed through our conversation, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with Joe. So, Joe, let's go back in time a little bit. So, just for everyone's benefit, you and I have been working together for some years now. You started as a developing coach, as a trainee learner coach on our program. During that time, you had a spell in hospital, in a mental health hospital, in a mental health ward in a hospital, because of your bipolar, and then we started to do some work together. Do you remember those early days of that work that we were doing together, and what sort of impact has that had on you, and I suppose how you are as a coach, Joe?
Hugely impactful. When I initially started with Simply Changing, I went into thinking I was going to be a business coach. You know, I've been a manager for 12 years, and that's where I thought my niche would be. The bipolar episode I had back then in 2015 was my second episode, and the work that we did together and the coaching and NLP we did together was a game changer. That's the only words I can use, and you know, that's words that clients have used back to me, because it is an absolute game changer. I suppose it's, for me, my message is that it's another option for people to explore. So there are other disciplines, counselling, CBT, but coaching and NLP is just something I'm really passionate about, that people can access for mental health. So yeah, I remember really, really well the work we did together. It felt a really safe place to be, and I think it totally changed my way of life, but in an absolute positive way. So it was some of the things around even the reframing and gratitude attitude and self-care, and the things that I'm feeding my body, walking out in nature, enjoying my dogs, just all the things that are still massively important, and just a way of being as part of my mental health is absolutely there. It's just became a way of life. So and having a nice support network, which we call my Vibe Tribe now, and that's massively important. So there's just absolutely loads that I got from the coaching in that respect. Also from the NLP side as well, it's almost having that inner compass, that self-regulation. So we worked on, and I use this a lot, the overdone strengths model that we worked on. So it was recognizing when things were working really well for me and serving me well, and when things started to work against me and not serving me so well, and being able to put some stoppers in place to be able to maintain my wellness. And that really helped with absolutely, if I could pinpoint the one tool or technique that was the biggest game changer for me, that would be the one that allowed me to almost raise my awareness, have some internal self-talk until it became an unconscious competence, something that I could do, just as like riding a bike. It just became a way of being again for me.
So there was just a little blip in the broadband there, but what you were saying was the overdone strengths model particularly was really influential in your wellness, and something that you go back to even now.
Yes, if I need to, when I need to, then yes, it does again come into my awareness, and it's there, and I can tap into it, and that's the beauty of it. I trust that it's there, and I trust that I've got it, and yeah, it's there when I need it, and it's internal. It's part of who I am. It's hard to explain, and we did it as a rainbow for me, and rainbows are really significant. And when I work with clients, I'll work with what their preferences are. So So some clients might build a mountain, or it could be a piece of cake. I've even had, I think, when clients have been hungry. But and really starting to build it up with sub-modalities as well. So you know, I've had clients who have had mountains and they're really sunny on one side when the strengths are really working well for them, and dulling down the sub-modalities maybe when and it being a little bit cloudy and drizzly. So I've worked with it in that way as well, to bring it to life for clients on their preferences. So yeah, it's my rainbow's with me all the time, and I'm very aware of when things are working well for me and when things are starting to not serve me so well. And that's when I know, oops, you know, it's almost like I need to make changes here. And what changes can I start to make, even if that's internal dialogue that I'm having with myself, right through to making actual, you know, effective changes. Be that, oh, I'm not looking after myself, or eating or drinking enough water, or whatever that is. So it might be practical things as well.
The issue of working with a person with mental unwellness and using NLP is quite an interesting debate. I mean, I have always used NLP with my coachees who have mental unwellness. When you are talking to the standard bearers for NLP, they will say don't use NLP with people with mental unwellness. But I think it's about how you work with it. So it's great to hear. The Overdone Strengths model is a coaching model. We used things like the meta programs specifically within NLP. Do you remember the convincer filter?
I do, yeah.
And the motivation of towards and away from, for example.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Have they stayed with you? Are they, yeah, you remember
Yeah,
that?
absolutely, absolutely. And again, these are all the things that I use with clients as well, absolutely. So they've stayed with me, and they're part of my toolkit. And it's I absolutely am living proof that NLP can be effectively used for mental wellness. And I've been well for 5 years since my last episode. So it's, you know, it's 5 years of wellness now. And I'm living, breathing proof that NLP can be absolutely used effectively and for mental wellness. Yeah.
So Joe, we use it differently, don't we? Because you now, and since those days, you changed your focus from becoming a business coach based on all of your amazing experience in organizations as a manager. And I know you were really passionate about that. And you changed your focus to become a mental health coach, and a hugely effective mental health coach you are. So you use NLP now, and it's really about how you use it rather than the fact that it exists. We're very much people, and we very much advocate. So we've got the CPD program that advocates working with people rather than doing something to people. And we always talk about the coaching process being very, very important to keep us on that track, so that we're always working alongside our client or our coachee. So how are you using, have you used the convincer filter? Have you used the other meta programs?
Yeah.
And how do you do that? And what effect are you having with your clients?
Yeah, and I do coach people as people, rather than their mental health label. And coaching is the absolutely essential part of it for the goal setting. So people are moving and are very clear of where they want to be, and the goal is always where we're working towards. So I'm very much, my approach is building up the goals, building up beliefs that they can achieve, and then starting to work on other areas. So it may be patterns, it may be tapping into their values, and using lots of other tools and techniques from my coaching toolkit. And I just think NLP beautifully complements it. So the things like the towards and away motivator and the convincer filters they can either be used quite conversationally within the process, or they can be just there to raise awareness or there's an actual it can be a takeaway. And again, it's working with that individual, because the towards and away motivators is tapping into what really does motivate a person to take action and to stay well, as well as convincing themselves as well, and getting that convincer filter going that they can stay well, and focusing on that. So yeah, I mean, the NLP, from the anchoring and people grounding themselves from, it could be from being anxious to being relaxed and calm. So the NLP is a vital part of my toolkit. That just adds another nice layer on top of it. It just works beautifully together, and I get the results speak for themselves. The feedback I get, I mean, there's probably not a day I go by when I'm getting a text from somebody to say, I've moved into a new job, or I'm maintaining wellness, and that is why I do what I do. That's what makes me get up and smile every morning when I wake up. And that's my driver, that's my motivation, that's my purpose. And people embrace it. I absolutely embrace it. And some people may choose to explore the coaching more than the NLP, and vice versa. Some people want to go straight into the NLP. So the choice is up to the person. It is, as we know, very person-centered approach, and working with the individual.
Fantastic. This is a really difficult question to answer, I know, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I'm really curious. So if you were really savvy in understanding that you wanted to become a coach, and you were really savvy in understanding that coaching was a viable option for a manager, for a leader within the organization, for a human being. So you became unwell when you were on the program, and then obviously we went through the experience that we did the work together. What do you think would have happened? What do you think your life would be like now if we hadn't done that work together? Have you got any sense of that at all?
Absolutely. I'd definitely be in the rat race again, or in hospital. It'd be either or. When I was unwell the first time in 2013, it gave me time to reflect on what I really wanted, and I looked at my job and I realized it was really important to me to develop people. That was it. I knew that was the bit that I wanted to work on, and that's what moved me towards coaching. And if I hadn't, I think I would have either carried on in my management job, been in the rat race, working long hours, not taking breaks, and potentially become unwell again and be in hospital again, and probably bounce back into that system and keep bouncing back into that system. But I'm not. I'm a very motivated towards person of being well and living the life that I want to live. And it's great that I am following my path of where I am exactly where I'm meant to be, and really excited for my future as well and where that's going. So yeah.
Wonderful to hear. What I love about that reference to, I'm a really motivated towards person. So, that meta program towards and away from is very important, and refocusing people with, going through the crisis, a mental health crisis, refocusing them on, towards living the life that they want to live, with building the strong beliefs, of being safe and happy, are really important factors in the work that we do when we're working with people with mental unwellness.
Mm-hmm.
So are you seeing in your coachees, your clients, your coachees, are you seeing that that their patterns are being interrupted by the work that you do, so that they're not bouncing back into mental unwellness?
Yes, yeah, because I'm. What's interesting is that you talk about motivating towards something, and that's exactly what I work with and tap into people. You know, I always use the example of when I was in hospital, and we talked about this as well, that I was motivated towards getting out of hospital, but towards enjoying being with my family. And it got to, I think, you know, I'd asked him to marry me whilst I was in hospital because it gave me something to work towards. It was always a positive towards. And I see so many people in hospital wanting to work getting away from it, getting away from the environment and getting away, and then they bounce back in. And I use that principle with my clients as well. So if you use that principle with your clients, if they're motivated towards the life they want, or the relationships, or the work, or whatever it is, and looking after themselves and their own mental wellness, then they're going to continue on that towards path. So people tend not to bounce back to me very often, because they become independent. They're not codependent of me, they're independent, and they've got the tools and the techniques to be able to do that, just like I've got my own tools and techniques. So does that answer your question? I'm not sure.
I think for me it's spot on, because I agree with you. I think that people can, you know, being in hospital is a horrendous experience, because I say that with a great emphasis, because a person's liberties really are somewhat taken away from them, because, you know, often they can't even go out for a cigarette or whatever without someone being with them. The wards are secure, aren't they? They're locked, and if you go out and about, you go out and about with family member or some form of chaperone. You know, often you're sleeping in wards with other people, so you know that privacy of your own bedroom has been removed from you. So the motivation to get away from that environment is very, very strong. What I think is really useful is to turn that as a towards motivation. So getting out of hospital is not about escaping that environment, but actually it's about the life that you want to live. I often think that, you know, that meta program is so useful and so powerful in that process alone. So I love that that's, you know, that's the framework that you're working with your coachees, which is wonderful.
And another example, you know, I always use the holiday. You know, you go on holiday and you're motivated towards your holiday because you love to have the cocktail, or you want to go and see a certain place, or you want to just lay on the beach. Whatever your thing is, you're motivated towards it. But there's also you're motivated away as well. So you might be getting away from the boss, or away from the emails, or away from life, and then you come back on holiday and you it's still there. So I use that metaphor quite a lot as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. It's a straightforward experience that people can understand the concept of towards and away. I think one of the things that we always do is we strip anything down to really those useful behaviors that we do on an everyday basis, or maybe not on an everyday basis at the moment, but you know what I mean, in terms of lockdown. So lockdown is now being unlocked, and life is slightly different. Are you noticing any differences in your coaches or your clients as we start to explore getting back to some normality in terms of the way that society exists?
Yeah, even things like going to the shops, people who have been self-isolating or shielding, you know, it's a big deal going back out there for some people, and the anxiety that's going to bring. So I'm starting to see that that the anxieties that are starting to come with that, and that's the word I would use, is there's a lot of anxiety around at the moment that I'm experienced with my clients. So it's working with them to do that at a pace that's right for them, and using again tools and techniques so that they can do that, you know, and take them to a different place, and change that to a much more resourceful place of being calm and relaxed about it. So yeah, it is, you know, it's almost always a scary world out there, but it's actually still the same world. It's just being run in a different way. So there's a lot of putting things into perspective again, and reframing things. And you know, even just asking people what sort of things are out there to protect us. The standards are brilliant. You know, the social distancing, the hand sanitizing, and all the rest of it. So it's just getting people to maybe just turn that RAS system and start to notice all the things that are in place to protect us as we go out there.
So that RAS that you just mentioned there was also very important, wasn't it? And the work that we did together, and it's called the reticular activating system. It's a part of your brain that alerts you to things that are going on in your world. Do you think that your coachees, your clients, do you think that they're concerned about contracting COVID? Is that a concern, or is it how life has changed that is a concern?
I think it's a bit of both. Again, it depends on the individual. The one's going to be stronger than the other, or there may be a mixture of both, or there may be other areas. So like I was saying about maybe jobs being at risk, or we could be passing it on to other people, can be a concern. There's 1,000,001 reasons at the moment that people and that's again, that's why it's so individual, isn't it? Absolutely individual of what people are going through at the moment. No two people are going to be experiencing it the same, and that's how I coach people. No two people are the same.
I think you're absolutely spot on personally, Joe. I think that one of the questions I was going to ask you was at the beginning, when we started to chat at the beginning, you said that you coach people and they happen to have, I can't remember the exact words that you used. So, you know, people are not their label, you
No.
know, whether they're highly motivated or very independent or anxious or they have bipolar, those are just elements of the whole person. And you were saying that you coach the whole person. How much do you think that approach and that we very much advocate that we look at skillfulness and resourcefulness in people and work in terms of readiness for change? So how much do you think that is a factor in terms of people's readiness for, willingness to, and ability to be able to become well and stay well?
Yeah, well, I absolutely believe it's possible. Absolutely, always possible. Working with the readiness for change is, I think that's been a bit of a thing where I've had probably more inquiries recently, and people have maybe come back a little bit later, because that readiness for change hasn't been quite there, because maybe they've been comfortable with where they're at that moment, and now change is happening. So I probably had more that have not take action straight away, whereas usually people would, you know, inquire and then we're straight into the coaching process. And I would say people have maybe just been a little bit more not so ready, because there's that much other changes going off at the moment. It maybe is being a little bit overwhelming at the moment, and it's how do I now move forward with this? So, you know, it's again just being working with that, you know, and they'll be in touch when they're ready again, and that's the point when it's the process starts, and that's when the journey begins to move into wellness through the coaching process.
Yeah, that journey into wellness. The journey begins into wellness. That's the catchphrase of the day for sure. It sounds like an amazingly powerful, yet very simple, straightforward statement to make. So, where are you taking your career as a mental health coach, Joe? What are your ambitions for the nation's mental wellness?
The nations, so my ultimate aims. So at the moment, I'm personally going through a bit of a branding. I've got some ideas that have been bubbling up there. So I'm not going to share them just yet, but they are literally looking at one-to-one coaching, but also more workshop coaching, so I can reach a bigger audience, maybe through Zoom. As well as the face-to-face stuff that I do. I'm wanting to raise my profile even more. My next steps are to maybe get more into the media, be that local radio to start off with, and then work up and get a bit more exposure that way, because my ultimate aim is to work with and I've started to do that, is starting to work with more high profile people, so that the message is out there again that coaching and NLP is a way to become as something to tap into as part of mental health. So that's always been my vision from my wellness, that I've not become unwell for nothing. It's my gift, and I want to it's my purpose, and is to make that difference to the world in a bigger way. So I know I'm putting it out there to the universe a bit, but my longer term vision is, and that's what I'm working towards now, is to get that message out. And the power of that high profile people, so Prince Harry or Prince William had mentioned about life coaching being an option for mental health on a TV program, and my phone did not stop ringing.
Wow.
Mainly men. I had a big influx, so I think that just demonstrates the power of how media can be used in a positive way. So yes, I've got some smaller plans going up at the moment, staying grounded in the process, but my ultimate aim is still there to get the message out there, however that is, even if that's on my own platform and doing my own TED talk one day and getting that message out there rather than through other people. So yeah, I'm very keen for that to happen, to just deeply inspire others to that you can live a happy life. And you know, I've got a severe, if I take the label I've got a severe mental a psychological disorder, and I've got a disability, and I could go around and carry that, and I don't carry that, and my bipolar is a part of me, but I know it's a bit cheesy, but it doesn't define me. It's been life changing, but and I've chose to change that into a way that I can help others, and that's the bit that's important to me.
Fantastic. And you have been getting the message out, Joe, because you've been interviewed quite a few times through lockdown. So who are those people and how have they found you? So what we would like is for this message of coaching and NLP to be very useful and hugely effective in a person's wellness from crisis onwards. So, you know, the professionals out there can chat to you and they can chat to me because we know we work with people and we know it makes a difference. And, you know, I think the standards of NLP definitely do need to be changed, because we're proof of the fact that, you know, we've been working with people for many years. And it's the how, not the what, that you do with NLP. So just want to mention that. Who are the people that have been knocking on your door and saying, I want to have a chat with you, Joe? So who's interviewed you recently?
So I've been collaborating with Brandon Block. He's a DJ. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a 90s DJ. So I'm toying with some of the ideas as well around music and what that can bring, especially because my partner's a DJ. So another thing, so watch this space. And potentially looking at some further collaborative work to bring to the East Midlands with Brandon Block. So that's something that's on the cards. Lockdown's put a bit of a stop to that, but hopefully that'll pick up in the future. But I've just done more collaborating, you know, and I'm being interviewed by quite a few people. It's been a really, really good experience to just start talking and just it coming from an authentic place. So yeah, it's not this is like the first step, and it feels a natural step to be able to share the message in this way, to be able to then hopefully get it out to the masses a little bit more. So yeah, I've got a list of people that I'm wanting to make contact with.
Can you read that list out? Maybe someone will know someone who's listening to this.
Well, there are obviously people with bipolar that I'm looking to approach. So, you know, you've got your Stephen Fry's of the world, you've got I haven't got my list with me, but it's a growing list. But we've got Frank Bruno. So, you know, some of these people that are in the public eye and got bipolar, and there's probably millions who've got bipolar and we don't even know. Not millions, but you know, there's lots of people out there that have got bipolar, and I think also another thing is when people are in that high profile celebrity status, they may not always be getting the support that they need as well. So I think there's a lot of mental health going off there. Footballers is another area where there's a lot of mental health, and I think as coaches we can be really, really valuable to people, absolutely valuable to people, so that they're getting the right support through it. And you know, we're very we work from, and when we did the CPD together, it's very much that coaches are going to come across people who've got mental health. You may not be the mental health coach, but you're going to get people come through your door who've got mental health. It's, you know, fact. I think it's 1 in 4, but it's probably way more than that. So yeah, I've got a long list of people that I'm looking to approach. Like I say, I've got a bit of an idea of how I'm moving forward. So I'm hoping by September-ish time, I'm going to have much more in place to be able to then put my offerings forward of what I can really offer and be really crystal clear on what that is.
Nice. So we'll watch this space. We'll definitely watch your trajectory. You're a very important person in the world of mental health, because not just because you're a coach, but because you utilize the NLP, and I think that's really important. And I think we should continue, you know, to utilize that toolkit. It's as we know, NLP is not a therapy, but it is based on the observation of therapeutic practices that are hugely effective. And it's based on the observance of people who do things really well. And the frameworks and strategies, well, the frameworks more than the strategies, I think, are really, really useful, particularly the meta programs. So if I can advocate for that, I would be very, very happy. And you know, anyone who's undertaking NLP, just think about how it is that you work with people. We have a CPD program, Joe, so I'll put the link to that. We've got it on Udemy. It's a piece of work that took a few years to put together. And it's useful. It's very real in terms of the experiences of yourself going through mental unwellness and utilizing coaching and NLP, and also my experience of having someone within the family close by who is experiencing it too. But we would be really happy to talk to organizations. We'd be happy to talk to individuals, and we'd be happy to talk to businesses as well. So if anybody wants to contact us, the contact details are at the end of this video. So Joe, is there anything that you would like to add to the conversation that we are having that we haven't said?
Thank you for your time today. Simply changing in yourself have been, you know, a huge, 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 huge part of my mental wellness. And you know, I'm a massive advocate that Simply Changing offer a fantastic coaching diploma, a toolkit for you to be able to go away and be an effective, highly skilled coach, an NLP within that as well. So I wanted to just maybe throw that in there and just thank Louise as well, which I know you maybe not take so gracefully, but just to thank you for the coaching that I received at exactly the time when I needed it. And the beauty of that is we created something brilliant for other coaches, and that was a big driver for me. That was a towards motivator, is allowing coaches to have the toolkit and skills and confidence to be able to coach other people with mental health. Find me on Facebook at the moment I'm Joe Rowe Mental Wellness Coach. I'm on Instagram as well. So my website's all going to be changing soon, so yeah, but if you want to hook up with me or drop me a message, then you know I'm available for a chat and a cuppa, then you know that can be easily arranged.
Fantastic. Joe, thank you very, very much for your time this morning. And I agree. I think what I've discovered is that if we just run with the questions, a framework of questions, we get that lovely authenticity and realness coming through, and you know, the genuine responses. Sometimes I think questions can be a little bit devised, and you know what we're like here at Simply Changing, we're not into that at all. So you and I know the journey we've been on together, you and I know the work that we've done together, so it was really easy to have this conversation with you actually, Joe, and thank you. I really, really thank you for your time.
No,
You're doing sterling work, absolutely sterling work. I'm super proud of you, but of course you get mentioned all the time in Simply Changing world. So you know, wherever I can make people aware of who you are and what you're doing, I jolly well do that. So happy to do that here today. So Joe, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a brilliant weekend, because have a great weekend and enjoy. Still haven't really got sunshine.
It's coming at the weekend. It's coming. Yeah, it's going to be lovely. I've planned a barbecue Sunday, so it's got to be. It will be. The sun always shines.
Oh, there you are, you little socialite. You're out. Have you got your friends and family coming round?
No, it's just me and Tim. We're having just Sunday afternoon together. So not seen each other too much recently. So yeah, we're having some quality time together.
Well, say hi to Tim for me and give the dogs a big hug from me, won't you?
I will do.
All right, lots of love. See you soon.
Okay, see you.
Bye.
Bye.